Hey, thanks for slithering in. Today we are back with another starter home, part of my starter home series. The starter home series is where we are going from world to world, building starter homes with base game and just the pack that the world came with. So today we are in Windenburg. Windenburg came with the Get Together pack, the expansion pack. I believe that was the first ever expansion pack for The Sims 4. Let me actually fact check myself real quick. I was correct. It was the very first expansion pack with The Sims 4. So, God, that's been probably, was it been 10 years? So, 9, 10 years since this pack came out. It was released in 2015. Yeah, it's been 10 years. That is crazy. And to this day, it is still probably one of my favorite packs for building. There are a lot of nice items for like Tudor style homes or just in general for like your cozy cottagey core building homes and things. So I use a lot of these items frequently, especially a lot of the debug items and fencing and things. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Speaking of get together, as part of the EA Creator Network, I do want to remind you guys that I do have my very own creator code. You can use my creator code on the EA app or thesims.com if you're picking up Get Together or any other packs. Thank you for those of you who have used it thus far. The shape of the build is done now. I definitely wanted to lean into more of that small two-door style. I also love Windenburg and fall, so I changed my game to fall just for this because I am so ready for the fall season, cozy weather and like sweater weather, and just cozying up with a nice big chunky blanket. But that's where we are at. I also want to thank you guys too. Before I forget, I did put a poll up for you guys to vote on which starter home you wanted to see next. It was between Windenburg, Brightchester, and Newcrest. And it was really close, guys. I'll pop it up on the screen for you, but Windenburg had 42% and Brightchester was 41%. I was like, oh my god. And for a minute, it was actually tied, so I was really scared. I was like, what am I going to do? But thank you guys for your input. I will be doing Brightchester next. I'm actually currently working on it. I've been like building and bulldozing a lot this past week, but I think we might be finally onto something, so stay tuned for that. Then we will do Newcrest. I also asked if you guys wanted to include other worlds like Magnolia Promenade or what's the one that comes with the camping pack? The outdoors retreat? No, Granite Falls, that's the world. Okay, so like vacation worlds, if you want me to include those. If not, I was also thinking of maybe doing like a little mini series where maybe I go and build in those rental worlds and make rental houses or rental homes that your Sims can go and rent out on vacation, as well as maybe building on some of the secret lots because I've actually never done that before. So let me know your ideas too in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and things. But let's actually finally talk about this build instead of all of that other filler stuff. So we have the shape. I really enjoyed doing this roof line. I thought that was really fun with like the little entryway, like roofed entryway here. I can't lie, I did get some inspiration from a couple of little Simsies builds because I never like do this little roof piece. So I was like, you know what? This might be a good time for me to try it. I also loved pairing all of this brick and stone and the like two-door wallpaper on the roofing pieces. I also included two like bay windows, like makeshift bay windows. We have glass walls in the base game now, so I wanted a way to use them, and I loved using this like crisscross diamondy pattern here, and I thought that was really pretty. It also brings in a lot of light, so I really enjoyed that. It might be my favorite part of this build. The layout is pretty simple. It's really closed concept, which I don't always do in starter homes because sometimes the living kitchen dining area, it's a little easier to kind of just make that open concept. But I felt like with the style of the build, very traditional, it had to be closed concept. We also technically have a full like entry room, which is really exciting. So there's not too much furniture in there. because obviously I wanted to make sure the rest of the rooms got furnished completely before I even tried to furnish the entryway. However, we do have a new kit coming out, a creator kit by Peacemaker, where I actually have two creator kits, so I should shout out both of them. So the first one is Peacemaker's kit. Their kit is called the Grange Mudroom, so it's going to be a lot of items for mudrooms and entryways. So I'm really excited for that because I do love a good entryway moment and a mudroom moment. I've done a few of those in the past, so I'm really excited for that. Also, we have another Create-A-Sim coming up, a Create-A-Sim kit coming up by Cryptic Sim. It's our very first makeup kit, so that is going to be super cute. I honestly don't know if I'm going to get that for myself because I don't really spend that much time in Create-A-Sim, and my PC's been feeling it lately with all of these packs. Plus, my PC's probably a little old at this point, so I kind of need to do some upgrades there. So I haven't quite decided if I'm going to get it and check it out yet, but stay tuned and keep your eyes open because I will be hosting a giveaway for both kits. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Make sure you follow me on all the socials and things. Anyway, back to this build. I am using some funky tile in the kitchen. If you can see it, I've actually never really made that tile work. That came with the Get Together expansion pack, so I felt like I had to use it, you know? And then first, I guess I was really struggling with the interior where I actually was like, let me do some exterior landscaping, which is kind of backwards for me because usually I'll do all the furnishings first and then come back outside and do the landscaping. But I think I just wanted to kind of get an idea of it. Or sometimes if you get stuck on one area of a build, it's probably best just to switch your focus and do something else for a little bit. And now at this point, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this again. So we are first going to furnish the kitchen. It's a pretty small kitchen, but actually like kind of a decent size for a starter home, in my opinion. I was able to fit a full kitchen in here with stove, fridge, and a sink, as well as like a little dining table. I think like a two-seater dining table, like kind of an Eden kitchen breakfast nook kind of feel. I imagine that if you want to move your sim in here, maybe build off of this house, you might want to get like another room for a dining room and kind of renovate it, but you also might just want to move out once you have enough simoleons too, which is totally understandable. In this corner is where we get the table, and I don't do any cabinets, which is very rare for me in a kitchen because I usually feel like a kitchen without cabinets just looks so empty and naked to me. But I think it kind of worked in this sense. We are on a shorter wall height, so that kind of helps. And I just had all these windows here, and I was like, I don't want to get rid of the windows, so I'm going to just do some open shelving, so we have that here. In the bathroom, we have some base game tiling, and I think this is a base game wallpaper as well. We use the Get Together sink and mirror, but the shower and toilet are from base game. There we go. Sorry. Here I'm thinking about the entryway. I think I end up putting just a plant and maybe a coat rack. I thought I did this much later in the build, so I'm really surprised I'm doing this now, actually. For context, it's been a hot minute since I've actually built this. Like, I built this probably a couple weeks ago, and now I'm sitting here doing the voiceover, so oops. Anyway, we are making sure I can afford a double bed before I do anything else in this build. And I am going to say it again and again and again. We need more base game beds. Get Together doesn't have any beds, at least that I can remember off the top of my head right now. It didn't look like it. So I was kind of stuck with base game a little bit, which is kind of a bummer. But there was recently a sim survey. I wonder if that's still going on. If it is, I'll try and link that somewhere. And pretty much they were looking for feedback on what we think of the game as it stands right now and the content we're getting and what we would like to see in future base game updates. Best you believe I put more base game beds because I know we just got one with like the big Pride base game update or SDX drop, and I love those beds. I really, really do. However, for like more traditional type builds, I wouldn't say I would want to lean towards those colors for every particular room, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I love those beds. I really do. I think they're really pretty, but it just doesn't fit for all the types of builds that I like to do, because I like to do a lot of different kinds of builds. I can never stick to one style because I just get so inspired by everyone else's builds and I have to try it. But here we furnished the living room. I just talked right over it. We get a nice big comfy couch, a bookshelf, and like a little desk area. You can probably add a TV at some point, but I didn't add one. I even played with putting this DJ booth in here because I was like, I should put some skill building from Get Together in here, and I ended up not doing it. Instead, I put the Wake the Llama table. I think that was fun because maybe, I don't know, the sim in here ends up maybe having a romantic partner or something. Like, having this game in the bedroom might be a little weird, but I don't know. I think it fit nice, and just imagine chilling there, looking at the view, playing a game of Wake the Llama with either your best friend or your partner. I think that would be super fun. I would love it. I also want to take a moment and hold space for this gorgeous blue wallpaper. It's just so deep and pretty, and I don't think I've ever really used it before. And if I'm misspeaking, and I actually have, then that's totally my bad. But in the moment when I was building this, I was like, wait, this is so pretty. So the whole build, pretty much we lean into a lot of blues and greens, and you probably could see that already anyway. So maybe I'm beating a dead horse with that news. But we are trying to figure out a wallpaper for the bedroom because I wasn't loving the white. And I don't know if I keep the green or if I stick with this blue. I can't remember. We're going to find that out together. I also play around with the swatches a little bit more, but we're at the point where we're like kind of getting down to the nitty gritty, like the last few little baby simoleons that we have. So I was really excited because I was like, wow, I have a whole 2,000 simoleons left. So I get an art easel, and now I'm like, I can actually do some cluttering, which is really cool. I don't get to say that much for my starter home, so I was really happy when it kind of worked out that way. So I guess I don't usually pay attention to the pricing of the items, but I guess I would say Get Together, pretty decent pricing maybe, in my opinion. At least that's how it felt as the build went on. Like, I get all this clutter in the bedroom here on the dresser. Then we're going to move into the kitchen, and I'm going to get even more clutter there, like this lighting. And I'm able to get some wall art as well as some items to fill up those open shelving units on the wall here. So that is going to be super, super fun. We're going to do that right now. I get the typical clutter that I tend to use, like this paper towel holder, this coffee tea display holder, some, kitchenware like spoons, spatulas. I pull out this milk carton that has Bella Goth as missing. That came from one of the unlockable reward event things. And then we get a knife block and I think just some books and maybe a plant up there. But as you can see, we are now under 100 simoleons left. And this is pretty much where I think it wraps up. I might be able to find some other kind of piece of clutter that works. I think I play around a little bit more. I might even delete something else. I don't quite remember what I end up doing, but that is pretty much the interior there. I was just looking around in every category to see if there was anything I could afford. It looks like I got rid of the books to get an outdoor light. That's what I think I did. Cool. And now we are going to work on some landscaping. And I'm pulling out the mailbox, and now that I'm looking at it, I think I might have forgotten a trash can. I feel like I always forget a trash can. Did I even put one in the kitchen? Oh boy, I might have forgotten that. That is my bad. So if you end up getting this from the gallery, you may have to, I don't know, sell a window or sell a decor piece, or I don't know, probably fish. You can fish right off the little lake here, so maybe you can easily get something to have enough simoleons to purchase a trash can. That is totally my bad. But we are going to landscape, and I love the debug menu. I know I say it all the time, but I in particular really like the debug from Get Together. I really like the different landscaping. The bushes are really pretty. I like the trees. They have a lot of good trees and a lot of good fencing pieces. You can see I have some in the back there with the like their little wooden fencing, but they have really good stone fencing that I use in a lot of builds too, especially when I'm in Henford on Bagley. I tend to use those. That is the Packwick Cottage Living, in case you don't know. But yeah, just look at this world. Look how pretty the reds and yellows are in the fall. I absolutely love it. In the yard, I didn't have any money for some plants or like garden pots or anything. So I made a little fake garden area because I felt like that would be a good spot to do some gardening. And I don't know. So that's just what I ended up doing. I've done that before, that trick. These are just, I think that's a debug base game item at this point. So I thought that was really fun. I end up layering some terrain paint underneath it. And oh, I get a debug trash can. So I kind of did remember a trash can. I just don't think it's functional. And I thought it'd be cute to add some debug ivy going up the wall in some places along the build just to kind of add some interest. These don't quite clip to the wall, so I use the tool mod to kind of move those around, as well as some of the bushes and stuff to just make it fit better. And I think I went through the interior, made sure none of it was poking through the walls, but they tend to do that sometimes, and if they are doing that, I'm sorry. I try not to, but sometimes it just happens, you know? And yeah, we are finishing up the landscaping. So I really do hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you left a like and a comment down below. But also stick around for a little longer because we are going to hop in Live Mode 2 and we are going to do some playtesting and kind of look through the build in real time, which I always enjoy doing. So I hope you guys enjoy doing that too. And I always start this little mini transition a little early, so that is my bad once again. But we are going to hop into live mode. I'll see you in a sec. I am so excited for fall. Look how gorgeous this is. And such a cute little like two-door starter home, at least in my opinion. Outside we don't have too many activities. This little garden patch is debugged, so you can't really do anything. But you could always remove that and then just use the terrain lines to kind of plant your stuff along or make your own little garden however you see fit. I really love this roof line too. I had so much fun with this. And this little bump out, like making your own little bay window, is such an adorable little touch. Look, we can even see our sim walking around in there. Ah, that's so funny. And I did the same thing on the back looking into the bedroom over here. Look, there goes our sim again. Kind of invasive. But like many starter homes, the interior and floor plan is pretty simple. This one we have a little entryway. We have a weird bump out here. I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So I put this little coat rack here. I guess that works for now. Over here is our bathroom. Looks like we are getting that all set. Let's set our sink type. Let's ignore this bush poking into the house. I can actually maybe scoot that over while we're here a little more. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, but we have our toilet, sink, and shower over here. Also off the entryway we have our little kitchen area. Let's set our sink type over here too. We also have a little dining space as well. But we have a little bit of clutter, which honestly in most of my starter homes I can never ever do. Alright, we gave our sim some money so he can cook something. Poor sim is sad for missing horses. Aw. You can probably get a horse in here somewhere. What happened? Can we not use this here? There we go. Okay, our kitchen is functional. That scared me. We need a functioning kitchen in a starter home. That's really all we really need. The living room I think is my favorite room, obviously because we have this large window, but I love this dark blue wall paint too, and we have a little desk area that you can end up cluttering to your heart's desire, adding a computer maybe if you needed one. And we have this comfy green couch as well. I'm just noticing Is there a little tear there? No, it was the light. Never mind. That's embarrassing. And here's our bedroom. Now, is the bedroom a great place for your phone? Probably not, but that's where we have it. We also have an alarm clock. You can see the back of it here. An art easel, the Don't Wake the Llama table, just to kind of fill that space up a little bit. And our base game bed and artwork. Very simple, very easy, but very functional. Thank you guys for watching this starter home in Windenburg, part of the starter home series. Again, the whole series playlist is linked down in the description below, and at the end of this video you'll have a little end card that will link right to it if you want to see the others. Stay tuned because we only have a couple more worlds left, and I'm going to put a poll up on my YouTube community posts tab page, whatever you want to call it, so keep an eye out for that so that you guys can let me know which world you want to see. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting, and of course a big thank you to my channel members for supporting me in that way. You guys also rock. Until next time, I will talk to you all in the next one. Bye!